Every pregnancy needs utmost care and attention. But certain pregnancies need a little extra attention. An RH negative mother carrying an RH positive baby is at increased risk of complications. BSV is at the forefront to ensure safe delivery in every RH negative pregnancy.
Hello and welcome to the Outside View presented by Women's Cricket Zone and brought to you by BSV, Puma, Food and Wellness, MRI Hospitals and NPL Sports Foundation. So match number 26 between the hosts and Pakistan. Both the teams are playing their last game of the league stage and they would want to finish their campaign on a very positive note today. To join me in the pre-show of this match, we have Marina and Akash. Welcome both of you to the show. So, of course, the news from the middle is that Pakistan have won the toss and they've elected to bowl first. Before we get to the match, a good news that we got to hear yesterday is that the BCCI has proposed a 6 teams women's IPL to be held on 2023. That initiative, Marina, I'll come to you with that first. With the kind of competition, the fights, and the games that we've been seeing in this World Cup, we surely know that we want to see more of it and to take women's cricket to another height. This could be a very good initiative. We already have a few leagues in other countries, and this women's IPL that we all are waiting for since really long is such a good news to hear about.
I think these type of things are now inevitable given the fact how this World Cup has been going on, and I think we had a lot of discussion what ICC should be doing. But on the other hand, I think that leagues like this these are really important for individuals, not just individuals, but in a bigger picture for globally. For women cricket as well, and as for the teams as well, because when individual shares dressing room with the greats of the game, they come back, they share their experience, they share what work ethic has been around and what's working for modern day cricket, who have been successful at the highest level. So this is just like a nursery for cricketers who can come in, take all the experience and then spread out in the world and can help the cause of getting women cricket right up where we want to see. So I think it's a brilliant initiative. I think the more the formats, the lesser they are right now. But I'm really excited to see that 6 teams were initially will be the part of IPL, women's IPL, and I think that more leagues should be coming in. It's a great platform for youngsters in India, and also a good initiative for whoever wants to take up cricket, because now they can see a proper pathway coming from the domestic and then playing such type of leagues, getting the attention all over the world, and then probably obviously going up for representing India at the highest level and also making their mark and their way into other leagues as well.
Definitely a platform that we always talk about, and given an opportunity, we see that the players come in from the grassroots, and that's where it plays a major role, isn't it, Akash?
Absolutely. If you see how T20 franchise leagues have helped the men's cricket grow, you just want the same model to be replicated in women's cricket. And it's not just like it will benefit Indian players, it will benefit, as Marina said, benefit players all over the world. There have been many times in the men's IPL, we have seen players from overseas coming and performing well, and then eventually making a mark at the international level for their side. So it's good for cricket overall, and it's been a long time coming. That's good. That's what I can tell you.
Definitely. So that is good news, and we all are delighted to hear that. And of course, now getting back to the match, New Zealand and Pakistan, both the teams wanting to get that 2 points in their account. So of course, Pakistan is going to bowl first. We're going to see the host take the charge with the bat. So yesterday in the presser, Sophie Devine said that probably the close games that we lost were a matter of 20-30 runs that we couldn't score. And a lot of dependency there on the top order is what we've seen in the few games that New Zealand have played. So, Marina, once again, when we talk about New Zealand's batting, we see there's Sophie Devine, Susie Bates, Amy Setterquit, and Amelia Kerr, but the middle order hasn't really striked for the team yet. And that's what has been a concern for New Zealand if you look at their journey so far in the tournament.
Well, definitely. I mean, they've got bigger names, but unfortunately for them, it's not working out in the middle. I mean, we all know what Susie Bates and Sophie Devine, Amy Satterthwaite can do. And moving down, Amelia Kerr, they're relying on Maddie Green as well. She had a good nick the other day. But again, you want your stars, you want your strike players to, come and score. And obviously, they are the hosts, so it's an added pressure for them. But things haven't been working out again for a longer format. And I've been saying that for World Cups, you need a team effort. You cannot rely on one or two players again and again to win games. So that has been the story for New Zealand. But I mean, the type of statement you heard from Sophie Devine, that was expected. I mean, uh, you cannot just give up, or you cannot just take any game easily. I mean, they're the host, and again, you want to end on a positive note, but firstly you have to make sure that you create and keep that positive environment in your dugout, that whatever game you're playing, you're out there to win it. And I think that they will have an extra push for today's game as well, to probably get the best out of it in terms of run rate. And maybe, as she said, that it's not all over for them. Again, they're waiting for the numbers to shift, so let's see how it goes.
A lot of permutation and combinations there if they have to make it to the top four. But as you rightly mentioned, the pressure, Akash, will come to that. But first, let's have a look at the playing 11 to see what are the combinations that we're going to get to see today. Of course, first change there for New Zealand, Rosemary Mayer comes in for Leah Tahuhu, and for Pakistan, you have Muniba Ali and Anam Amin coming back to this side. Of course, we'll get to the combination and the Pakistan's bowling in a while. But you just mentioned about the pressure, Marina, there about hosting the World Cup. Of course, you are more aware of the conditions. That's an advantage for you playing at your home grounds. But Akash, as she mentioned, pressure and hosting the World Cup, it's probably a double-edged sword, because we saw that Susie Bates, Amelia Kerr was in a terrific form when they played India. We've of course seen a half century for Amelia Kerr, but if we talk about Amy Setterquit or Susie Bates, they've just performed in patches and hasn't looked at their absolute best. So is that a pressure that plays behind their mind?
Well, it's difficult to say, but the problem with the batting has been the late middle order, because the top four have tried to get scores from every match. But if you look at the match, they've lost most of them in like close last over games. The South Africa one went to the wire. The West Indies one ended in the last over. So it's more about, yeah. Having said that, it's more about keeping calm in those situations. But honestly, I think against South Africa, they should have got more. The middle order did not perform up to the mark, and they suffered because of that. But look, they have a good team on any given day. It's just that this tournament, it's just not come together as a whole, and which is why they have suffered.
Definitely. And if we have to talk about Pakistan's bowling, Anam Amin has made it to the squad this time around. She wasn't playing in the last game. It was quite a surprising omission, both actually, Munibas and Anam Amin's. But she's back in this setup. And if you have to talk about Pakistan's bowling, Marina, it has looked decent in the tournament so far. Uh, what do you make of Pakistan's bowling unit? But because they've given a good fight in the games that they've played, probably did not have enough runs on the board sometimes when they were defending it.
Sorry, there was some distortion. Can you repeat the end part?
Yeah, so as like Anam Amin gets into the team, but if you have to talk about overall Pakistan's bowling unit, it has looked decent in the tournament so far. On quite a few occasions, they did not have enough runs on the board to defend it, but there was a good fight coming in from there, and the bowling unit has looked good. So, how do you see them approaching today's game as well?
Well, I'm pretty much satisfied with the bowling efforts. I mean, I don't think there was more Pakistan bowlers could have done. They tried to keep the economy in check. They tried to create the opportunities. At some games, they did get early breakthroughs. They tried to attack the middle overs as well. The spinners have been brilliant and exceptional. I think up front, Diana and Fatma Sana has done a brilliant job for Pakistan. So overall, I think they are sorted in it. Yes, probably they could have been a bit more disciplined in the middle overs, or especially if I talk about death overs, that's one area for concern for Pakistan, because we've seen Diana missing out at some occasions. She wasn't bowling in death overs. You want some pacer who can come and bowl some yokers. We've got Fatma Sana, but you need some support at the other end. There were times when Nida Dar had to play that role, and it's not easy for a spinner, where it's in conditions like New Zealand to, and especially in any condition, especially at the death overs, to come and try to contain. So I think that's one area where Pakistan can improve the death overs. Otherwise, I'm really happy the way these young girls have done. Especially talk about Fatma Sana, she's been brilliant. Nashra Sandhu has been economical as well. Anam Amin, whenever she's given the responsibility, she has delivered. And then Nida Dar, obviously, she's been leading the spin attack. So overall, the bowling unit has done pretty well in this World Cup.
Definitely, as you rightly mentioned, that Diana Baig with the new ball and then Nashra Sandhu taking care of the middle overs. We've seen good performances coming in from them. So the template over bowling template there looks fine, Akash. And today they're going to ask some difficult questions to the New Zealand batters as well, because the top order, we of course saw Sophie Devine score almost a century in the last game. She already had a century in the first game as well. So that's what would be something going on in Pakistan's mind, and the decision to bowl first, because they know that probably if their bowlers would continue their good form, they could restrict New Zealand to a good total, having considered that we just had a talk that the middle order is also yet to come there and express themselves.
Yeah, I think as Marina mentioned, I think Pakistan's bowling has been overall good in this tournament. But I think where the problem lies is their batting. If you really look down at the top six that have played in this World Cup for Pakistan, none of them have actually been consistent and also gone on to get big scores on the given day. Alia Riaz has been slightly disappointing with the bat. So has been, I think, neither. Again, both of them have got 50s under their belt, but they just haven't got the runs consistently. It's difficult to get runs when you come at five and number six. So you have to play the situation, which is a difficult thing to do with. But again, as I said, the whole batting unit has not come together in this World Cup, which is what I think they should be looking back and trying to work out after this World Cup. But the bowling has been good. The bowling has been quite impressive in not even in patches. I would say in most games the what bowling has stood out rather than their batting.
Definitely, and playing in the New Zealand conditions and then making most of it has been a greatest. Probably, if you look at the campaign of Pakistan, it has been a biggest positive, the bowling of their unit. But today, if you have to talk about their approach towards the game, Marina, probably they would want to just forget in the last couple of days the close matches that they've lost, because they were almost, as you mentioned earlier, that two close games that they would have had a secured victory in. But heading into this game against New Zealand, they know that they have already broken their streak of not winning matches in the World Cup. That would also be a good confidence booster for them. And the Bisma Maruf led side, they would what would be their approach today, heading on into this game, because we're expecting a full capacity crowd today there at the for the host. And when you have that crowd, you see the cheers, the enthusiasm, and the entire vibe there is different. So Pakistan, it's a big moment for them today as well, because they've already won a game in this World Cup, and now approaching the game towards New Zealand, they would want to just forget and go there and play their natural game.
Well, yes, I mean, being professional, that's exactly how every team should do. And Pakistan obviously would love to finish on a positive note. They know they have the resources, they know they have been reaching out that finishing line, but getting over it was the problem for them. But today, I think, again, they should come in with a positive note. Their bowling has been exceptional. Yes, there were things working for batting, but again, overall, they can approach this game to make an impact and to end on a positive note. I think with the type of performances New Zealand has, Pakistan should try to capitalize on any opportunity they get, because it's not a very consistent and stable batting lineup for New Zealand. So I think early breakthroughs definitely can put pressure on New Zealand. And Pakistan again has to work hard, but they have the ability. Again, we've seen close games. They have the ability. It's just about faith, and again, how they implement according to the situation. They need to you be realistic about their approach in batting. But what's at in their hand right now is their bowling, and that has been exceptional. Fielding, yes, they need to capitalize on those half chances. I mean, at this level, you cannot give a chance to established players or players who can actually turn the game around. So I think, yes, picking up positives from the games they've played in this campaign, they should end on a positive note and be assertive approaching this game as well.
Definitely. And as you said, that the early breakthroughs that the Pakistan bowlers might give the team is what would actually change the course of the game. And that would then bring the entire responsibility to the middle order. Akash, you know, we have Maddie Green there, we have Katie Martin there. They've performed in patches, a little bit of cameos there. Yesterday, we saw Katie Martin putting up an emotional message on Twitter out there for all the fans. It's an emotional moment for the hosts as well because playing the World Cup in home conditions. I remember once in 2011, talking about the 2011 World Cup, MS Dhoni once said that wherever we were going for practice or in the hotel, people were all coming there and saying us, "You're winning the World Cup, right? It's happening in India." So that kind of thing also goes on into their minds. And today, it's the right time for the middle order to come there. And Katie Martin, on that lines, she wrote something on Twitter yesterday, and it's time today for the middle order to come there because it's the last league game. And if, as I mentioned before, if we have to look about all the permutations and combinations and hope that India doesn't win and England doesn't win, who knows, New Zealand might just make it. Not likely, but still.
Look, the chances of them, chances.
Sorry.
Was that question for me?
Go
I
on.
think I lost you there.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
Yeah, so chances for New Zealand are pretty less, but again, they can't think about that. I think it's more they have to be positive. It's the last game of the World Cup. Again, as I said before, they have lost matches in like last overs, and that is something that they will like to work on after the World Cup. But for now, they can just hope they get a good victory over Pakistan and finish the World Cup on a high. And as the team would want to give the hosts, the fans back home, something to cheer about. But again, yeah, as you previously said, I just want to talk about one point that if Pakistan can get rid of the top order early in this game, I think Pakistan will have a good chance. And that's probably the realistic chance Pakistan has if they can get rid of the top order early on. But also, Pakistan has to be a little careful about not letting the momentum go. I think Marina will agree with me on this that a lot of times during this tournament, Pakistan got the momentum in their hand and they've let it go. South Africa game comes to my mind, India game comes to my mind, even the Bangladesh with the bat in the later second half of the match. So that's something that they need to think about. Again, Pakistan also has had a good tournament. I think they've done pretty well. But again, some of the things they would like to work on after the World Cup will be on that. That when they have the game in their hand, they have to capitalize on those crunch situations and make it work for themselves.
Definitely. And when you talk about the top order, as you mentioned, that the crowds wouldn't want that today. Pakistan getting early breakthroughs. They would want another good innings coming in there from Sophie Devine. The way she's carried the team tactically with the field and with the bat as well. We saw a lot of intent coming in from her in the last game as well. So probably your thoughts on her captaincy as well, Marina, and the way she carried herself in the last game. She was struggling there, but she knew that there was no one from the other end to hold the fort of the side. So she continued and then went back, came back, couldn't make a larger impact, but a lot of intent we saw. And today also ending the league stage for the host, being the host, the crowd would want to see a Sophie Devine special today.
I feel she's been the lone warrior so far for New Zealand. And again, it's never easy when you're being host, losing games, some really close games as well. And you know that you have a pretty decent squad to be picked from. And again, it's all about. I mean, she's a fighter. You can see that in her body language. You can see how the way she talks. And she's led New Zealand really well. given the fact that they've got losses, it doesn't really matter. Every game she approached, I think it was all about they wanted to win. Things haven't been working. It's like a puzzle that hasn't been come together. But again, I think she's been very professional about it, and she's been brave in reaching and how she's been approaching the games, I would say. So obviously, again, it's a big game for them as well, ending the campaign on a positive note, and they would again like to make a statement that they are a team to look out for. If things hadn't worked out, it's not the end for them. Again, like Akash said, they had bigger names, they have everyone who could made a difference, but it's all about things not working out on a crunch moments. But I think yes, again, in today's game, they will be coming out. They would want to dominate this game and end it with a win.
Definitely. A bit of luck was what the hosts would have hoped for in the initial stages of the match. The first game, they started with a nail biter against West Indies, but now facing Pakistan, so it's prediction time now. Coming to you, Akash, first, how much is Pakistan chasing? If you could tell us a margin there. Hey,
Yeah, so I think around 260, 260 is what New Zealand should be happy about on this wicket. It could be a good score, but yeah, again, it depends on how Pakistan goes about their business with the ball. If they start off well, they could even restrict New Zealand to like 200, 220. But I think if they get a good start, 260 is on the board for New Zealand.
if a good start, then it's 260 on board for New Zealand, says Akash. And coming to Marina with the pick of bowlers from Pakistan, who do you think is going to shine with the ball and ask difficult question to the New Zealand batters today?
I think I have a feeling that Nashra Sandhu would, make a difference today. She's been pretty decent and bold in her bowling, very wise as well. But Christchurch obviously has some support for the pace bowlers. Again, Diana and Fatma Sana has a huge role with the new ball. But I think if they manage to, rotate their bowlers and keep the pressure on for New Zealand, it shouldn't be going by. It shouldn't be bypassing 220 for Pakistan.
220, 250, 260, and Nashra Sandhu making an impact with the ball there. We've got the predictions from our experts. Well, of course, we're all excited to see how this action pans out because the hosts are playing their last game. Pakistan is playing the last game of the league match, and they would both want to end the proceedings on a positive note for them. And we'll, of course, pick up this conversation in the mid show. You, until then, stay tuned to Women's Cricket Zone for all the updates on women's cricket.